Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to another Digital Woodcarver live event. My name is Laney Shaughnessy. I'm your host this evening, and co-hosting with me tonight is Burl Tichenor from the owner of Digital Woodcarver. How you doing this evening, Burl?
We are doing good. Had a break there last week. We didn't do our show and kind of rested up and ready to do another one tonight. Tonight's going to be a little bit different than what we've done in the past, but going to be highlighting our DWC5100, the big CNC.
Yep, our professional grade commercial line CNC machine, our 4x8. Well, I'm glad you got to rest up and everything, and I know that this past Sunday was Mother's Day. Hope Mrs. Beth had a great Mother's Day and everything.
She did
here, so I'm glad you're back.
She did. Yeah, we didn't do a lot necessarily, but had a time. One of the things of being in, we get to spend a lot of time with our 3 kids, and this was no exception. This Sunday had a time where they were all around and interact with them.
That's perfect, because they grow up so fast. So any bit of the time you get to spend with them is all a good time. Well, I want to thank everybody that's joining us tonight. And like Burl said, we are talking about our DWC5100 model CNC. It is our 4x8 commercial line CNC. We're going to get into a bit of a walk around video and we're going to talk about some of the highlights that Burl created. And then we're going to hopefully answer some of your questions. If you guys and girls have any questions at any time, type it into the chat and we'll be happy to answer it. If we do not get to your questions for some reason, if time runs out, I will answer those in the comment section of the video. So you will get an answer one way or another, whether it's live or not. Before we get started into the 5100, Burl, are there any announcements or anything that you want to talk about on your end before I make my announcement about this weekend's event?
Okay. Well, I'll start off with saying if it looks a little different on my side, this is in my office instead of in my shop. And so hopefully camera won't be moving as much. Should have a little better, even though the Wi-Fi out there is good. But I will make an announcement that, and we'll talk more about it later. But Laney doesn't know about this yet. But give you a little bit of announcement what's happening with Digital Woodcarver. While we're getting ready for our video, we're going to do a little different tonight. But the announcement is we've been very, very busy. But last week, actually, it would be a week and 2 or 3 days, we actually purchased a property. Actually, it's a building that Digital Woodcarver shop will be moving into.
Congratulations.
It is we've been aiming to do that if any of the customers have come to our location, and it was a building attached to my property next to my house, and we have purchased its commercial building. It was an automotive shop. Has some work to do. Over the next couple of weeks, we'll show some pictures of it. About 4,300 square feet of shop area, office area, but it'll be a nice place that we can have a showroom, an actual training area. And Terry and I were doing some cleaning up in it. And there's even a couple shop areas that we might be able to do actual seminars. That brings up a point of this year with everything that's going on with our country. We haven't had the time to even sit down and talk about our seminars. Our user groups that we like to do, and always had good response with those. So it obviously will be, a little more in the fall when things open up even around a little more. But there's a chance we might do one of the user groups there in our office. We've got some 2 shop areas that have plenty of room where we put chairs and a big screen and do some areas there, and hopefully give me spurred to get some of it fixed up before then. But that was announcements I wanted to make earlier. Over the next couple of weeks, we'll throw some pictures up of it as we are working on it. We started last weekend putting some new doors and windows in, and got to get some finishes. But it is a location here in Martinsville, Indiana. So we're not moving out of the area. It's probably 5 miles from my house, maybe 6 miles. It's in town. It's zoned commercial, so it's in an area that is zoned for commercial there. So over the next few weeks and months, we'll be moving into that facility for a shop, and as people come by, it will have a little more of it's a little larger, so we'll be able to have a designated showroom area, and then obviously a place there that we can add manufacturing, possibly here in Martinsville, along with our Shoals location that we showed a couple weeks ago, where we're doing manufacturing.
Outstanding.
Yep.
Congratulations. Didn't mean to cut you off there. I'm just excited for you. That's phenomenal. That's that's great news. I've been with you guys for 5 years, and seeing the growth and moving over from your Avon location to Martinsville, turning your Martinsville shop into a workable area, and then of course Shoals. And now this, I can see that progression growth with digital work. I'm so happy for you. I'm so stoked. That's outstanding.
Yeah. And we were with some of and some people know that we're manufacturing a product for a company I used to work for, Wood Miser. Our Shoals facility is just really, they're building a lot of product, and we now have 12, 13 employees. Even through this time, we've been able to keep everybody. We've cut back some of the hours, voluntary, not mandatory, on some of them. But honestly, we're busy. We sold. We're still selling machines and still producing. It's doing well on that, and it's all thanks to our customers. Of course, you, Laney, as your our support and sales of the product obviously helps us all succeed when it comes to that. So yeah, we're exciting. It's scary some, right now with a lot of unknowns, but it was an opportunity that come up. We've been just kind of keeping our eye out, and a retired couple decided to, he got out of the automotive repair business and sold it. And we actually, a month ago, heard about it. They actually sold it to somebody else, and that deal fell through. So it come to us, and we just couldn't let it go
right in there and grab a hold of it.
Exactly.
Oh, well, that's outstanding. Now, maybe on my end, my announcement will kind of help with driving some sales to you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, for you folks, a lot of you that are most likely joining us tonight and kind of been watching over the last couple of weeks, a lot of you have gone over on our Facebook users group and asked or requested to be able to join the Digital Woodcarver Owners user group and our Digital Woodcarver Owners classified group and things. And one of the things that when we developed that group, it's a private group just for the owners. And it's a place for them to share files and ideas and collaborate and things. And we've kind of gave them their space, like a forum, if you will. But it is a popular group because it's so active and everybody's wanting in. So what we're going to do is this weekend, May 16th, Friday through Sunday, May 16th. I think it's the 15th, 16th, and 17th.
I think you're correct. My birthday's on Friday, Laney, so that's the 15th,
16th, and 17th. My little banner is incorrect, Burl. The reason why it kind of threw me off
threw you off for a little bit.
It says Friday through Sunday, but then it says May 16th and 17th. It's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I'm going to be sending this invitation out to, we've had, I would say, quite a few people request to join. So on Facebook, I'm taking those requests and those people that have written us saying that they're kind of shopping around and stuff. And I'm giving an open house for the 3 days. They're going to be allowed to come into the group, look around, talk with ask questions and get answers from the owners. That way they're not listening to salespeople. They can actually get, right from the horse's mouth, from the owners, from the meat and potatoes of our company, those owners, that support us and things. So we're going to have that open house. So if you have joined or requested to join the Digital Woodcarver Owners Group in the past, and nothing, you have not seen any feedback from that yet as far as your request goes, keep an eye out for your email this evening and tomorrow for this invitation. And then be sure to come in and join us. And now, Burl, one of the things I took it upon myself. I talked to you and you said, hey, you know what, go for it. I did offer an additional for these people that are in the open house. There is an actual bonus for you guys and girls. If you did decide to purchase a digital wood carver, you're going to get an additional $100 off of the current sale that's going on your purchase. So that's a big savings. So if you're looking in the market and you've been joining us every week to see what we're all about and what machines we have to offer, and you're on the fence, not ready to quite pull the trigger, be sure to look out for your emails, especially if you join the Digital Woodcarver Owners Group. Now, that being said, I'm sending this invitation out to the ones that have requested. If you have not requested to join yet, you can do so. Digital Woodcarver Owners Group, you can request to join, but you got to answer the questions. You got to say, just looking around trying to get information or something showing that there is an intent. You're not just wanting to hang out with the guys and girls.
They could probably put on their open house
request or something, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So I know who to send these invites out to. So
yeah, and that's good. You've done it, and I'll just you come to me with this idea, and I thought it was fabulous. You've done it on a small scale before, Laney, and our customers have just done super job of answering people's questions when they have them, and about support or about the product, or will it do this and that. And we do have a good customer base out there that jumps in anytime that you've allowed individually. And I think this is great, where we'll have have a chance where a larger group can join, and our customers know, hey, these people are going to pop into our area, and we'll help them out and answer some of those questions they've had.
Yeah, and Brandon, they're gonna be in the group. I'll be announcing it in the group. So the way that you can help out, just like all of our other customers, when there's a question that's posted by one of these individuals, jump in and give them an answer. Show them what this is going to do. What I'm hoping, Burl, that it'll achieve is that not only will it allow them to get some answers, or good answers to their questions, but also show the type of community that we've actually built with Digital Woodcarver customers. We have a phenomenal community of customers. And I just want to show that off a little bit. And as far as, the group being private, it's just for our customers, it's their space to kind of share their ideas with one another and collaborate. That's why we don't have it open to the public, but definitely come on in and join us this weekend. And hey, if you purchase a machine, you can come right back in and join us anytime you want after that.
Exactly. The other thing I wanted to point out, we do have a regular Facebook. We aren't on there as active as far as showing projects, but we do. Feel free to come to that Facebook. If you're not an owner, and we'll announce shows and stuff. And our marketing guy Jake has been doing a little better job of keeping that active and motivated, and we'll try to on the other. The word open house on this new property. Maybe this fall we'll do a physical, not a virtual, but a physical open house, and that all runs together very well there, Laney.
Absolutely. Well, it's a little early, but Ronnie Probert throws out there a happy birthday.
Thank you. I'm 29.
And good evening, Jim, and everything. Now, Brandon, Burl, before we get into the video, Brandon did have a question, and this is a question we get quite often, and it's a good one for us to answer. Looking to upgrade for mass production, and what do we suggest? Because he's running his 2440 to the ground.
Oh, I know.
And he's been running it like crazy and doing he's beating it down. He's doing a great job with his products and all, but it's time for him to grow into something. So what would be a recommendation?
Well, the 5100, which is what we're showing, and it does take up a pretty good square footage in your shop if you don't have the large area. The nice thing about it is you can do a full 4x8 sheet of plywood or larger areas, or if you're doing a lot of projects, you can do stagger them and tile them type of a scenario. But we do have a machine that's coming. We keep saying this. We've showed it off in videos. We do have a production for the lower end. I've just got to, you know,
And for
I got to get on that. It's everything else. So
stumbling over is it's in production. It's a prototype phase, but it's a 30 by 48 unit.
That is correct.
Kind of a mid-size hybrid. It's got an automatic tool changer, spindle, and everything. It's kind of a hybrid between our commercial line and our what would we call our
it'd be a mid-range router. You know, it's going to be very similar to a footprint of the 2440. You know, we expanded the width and the length a little bit. It's just a totally different, you know, it's a much heavier type of a machine. Really got some good results. You know, it's like everything else. We just run out of hours in the day to get everything accomplished, you know, when it comes to that. But we'll get it released. As of now, the 4x4 and the 4x8, we're going to mainly talk about the 5100 tonight. But it's the 5100 is similar to the 4x4. So if you know, if size is a you know, limitation in your shop, there is the 4x4 unit, still that heavy structure, welded structure, but it just it's, you know, gives you that 48-inch by 48-inch cutting area when it comes to that. So we're going to focus on the 5100, but that doesn't mean pretty well everything on it pertains to the 48 by 48.
Absolutely. And I wanted to you know, answer this question from Mike, is what software is included with this? And he's referring to CAD CAM software. And Mike, I'll go ahead and jump in on this. With our 4x4 and our 4x8, our commercial line units, they come standard with the Planet CNC TNG motion controller software, but we do not have them packaged together with a CAD CAM design software. Now, we are vendors of Vectric software, so they have the opportunity to bundle in the Vectric software, Vectric VCarve Desktop Pro or Aspire with the unit, but it's kind of an open form. You would purchase the unit and then you would choose which software package you want to bundle in with it, and it's kind of sold separately. It's not as a package price, so it would be one of the Vectric line, Mike, but choose. And if you already have the Vectric software and you were purchasing, then you wouldn't need. That's one of the things. Most of the time, I kind of think the reason why we don't bundle it in is because most of the time it's we have customers that are upgrading to our larger unit, and they've already got the software, so we just don't include it in. So it's something they sell separately, and I might be, that's my thinking on that one. Burl, if you have any additional.
No, it was that's a excellent you know, statement there. We certainly could, you know, bundle it in there, but you're exactly right. A lot of people that buy these units are a little more, you know, specialty, can be somebody that's dealing with a particular design, whether it's in the cabinets or making, you know, we have one gentleman that has one that's, you know, makes gun stocks. Or specializes in just one thing. So sometimes when you get into those areas, they will have their own specialty type of software. And so, or like you said, somebody may be moving from a Mini to a 5100 or a 2440 to a 5100, and they already have the existing, you know, software when it comes to that. So the VCarve, it's the same controller as the smaller units, and as you'll see in our video as we show it here, the same controller software, so your learning curve, the same VCarve Pro, Aspire, both of those work excellent with this machine. So as you're doing your, you know, upgrades, the learning curve really there is none. I mean, it will be going directly from one to the next, doing almost identical things. There's a few things that can be different, but for the most part, everything in the setup and stuff will be the same.
Absolutely. And Stephen Camaro says, do you guys attend IWF in Atlanta? You know, Burl and I attended IWF as guests 1 year. I think Burl went a year also before me one time, but we went together to IWF. You know, it's a great time to look around and see what's out there and everything. but I think we don't, when it's in Georgia, that's kind of more so than Vegas and stuff because it goes, it alternates those 2 years. Stephen, it's not really a show for us. Is that Burl? That's kind of correct? That's
Right.
more industrial.
One of the reasons I don't go to it, and we have tried. A matter of fact, a little bit of history. That's where we did our first show together, Laney. If you remember back out in Las Vegas.
Las Vegas. Yeah, I
Yeah,
do.
they're not bad shows. They're excellent shows, but generally, and this is my feel. Maybe I'm totally off on it, but those shows are generally for large companies that basically send their employees, or they go to see what the latest, greatest, multi-million-dollar piece of equipment that has all the bells and whistles on it. And we feel that our strong suit is more of I want to call it grassroots, or individuals that are entrepreneurs themselves. People ask me all the time, who do we target? And I feel our target is high-end hobbyists to lower-end businesses. When it comes to that, we realize that we're not even our 5100 that we're showcasing, we've got people running it all the time. But certainly we're not naive to that there's larger machines out there. And what we felt is we just really the type of people that went to those shows aren't the entrepreneur people individually that they're going to be the owner operator of the machine. They're more of a company that basically they're going to buy a machine and have employees run it, where we like dealing with a little more of those smaller owner operators. You buy it to create a small sideline business or enhance your business up a little bit, versus that. Nothing wrong with it. We'll reevaluate it in the past. It's a hard show to get into. It's very, very expensive. And there's a lot of restrictions to that show getting in. And it's not only is it tough to get in, but there's a lot of restrictions that you have to do when you go to those shows.
Yeah, and Randy, on your I'm gonna put this question up. Randy asked, are these more rigid than Piranha, or their larger versions? Randy, I kind of always steer away from questions about other machines and stuff because I can't really give a good answer without it sounding like I'm down talking or bashing another company or something like that, and that's not my intent. Every company, they're good at what they do, right? We at Digital Woodcarver, I think we're great at what we do, and we make a great machine. The machines are 2440s and our mini carvers. They're not. His question was more related to our mid-size, our entry level.
Yeah. Yes, yes. I
know. They are great little production units and everything. But as far as is it more rigid than the Piranha? Well, the Piranha, is a small little unit. Our unit is 18 by 24. The Piranha is like 12 by something. So much larger carving area than our 2440. I don't know about their larger versions. I don't really follow what they have out on the market, which I probably should as the sales guy. But I feel that what stands us apart from our competition is the type of support, our product, the quality we put into our design and our products and everything, and then the support behind that product that no one else can compete with. And that's how I'm going to answer that question.
Yeah, Laney, I might throw in an ad there for Randy. With your open house, your virtual open house that you got this weekend, one of the things that our customers can talk about is, and we got customers that have moved from a lot of different companies out there. And I agree with you, Laney. My stance on bashing other customers and or other companies.
Right.
We don't try doing that. Do your research. I think if you do the research on them and us, it will tell itself. But that's a good question for customers, because we do. You and I both know that we've got customers out there that have moved from different brands of CNCs to our brand. And, they're not bashful to tell you what problems or struggles they've had with theirs and the good points or even bad points of ours. So.
All right, so we're going to get this question is going to lead us into our video. We're going to show off the machine here in a second, but we're going to answer this last question. Then we're going to go ahead and start talking about the DWC 5100. What horsepower is the 5100? Now, I'm sure Ronnie is referring to our spindle, and that is a 3.2 kW water-cooled spindle. And Burl, what's that an equivalent of?
4.25
horsepower. 4.25 horsepower water-cooled spindle. And that being said, let's go ahead and let's show it off a little bit. Now, guys and girls, Burl and I we're gonna voice over and narrate and kind of talk about the 5100 and everything. We did not have an internet setup out at our Shoals facility where our machine is, because our 5100 that we're showing off here is a production unit. It's actually in the production line of making equipment and stuff. So we're going to give you a walk around of the unit and everything, but we couldn't do it live like we did have the past weeks. So hope you kind of enjoy our narration of this. And I'm going to let Burl kind of take the reins on this, but I keep trying to push my screen over here, and let's push the button over here. And Burl, you'll tell me if you need me to stop so you can elaborate on something.
Yeah, we'll hit pause. I basically did a walk around on the machine, and we're going to try to highlight the points of this. So we got a front shot here, and first thing we're going to do is we're going to focus on the side rails and what this used. These are profiled linear rails that you see there with sealed and wipers. Rack and pinion. If you want to pause it there, Laney, it should pause. Yep. And rack and pinion. So that black rail there, the lower, has gears on the bottom of it on that. So that is a rack and pinion. With that, what that means is you have gears along that linear rail there, and then a gear that's on in the X motion. It has a motor on both sides that travels to keep so you don't get any racking on it. So on this side, there's a rail, a profile rail at the top, and then the lower part is a rack and pinion. And there will be, and you'll see in the video, another one on the other side. This is a long direction. This is the direction that will travel the 8-foot length, and underneath that cover right there is a gear reduction with a stepper motor inside that that cover, underneath that cover there.
Absolutely. And as we progress along through this, we're going to move up and actually show off the table, and then we're going to get into a little bit of the top rail. We'll show a little bit of that, but
this is a tabletop. That's it's a plastic type of a composite there, and it is a vacuum table and a T-track system. When we sell it, it is primarily a T-track, just like what we have on our 2440s and our 18x24 systems, where those silver. Oh, back it up just a little bit, can you, Laney?
Sorry,
you paused it, but
my apologies. There you go.
Okay, no problem. But those silver long rails, those are the T-tracks that you can, clamp down on. And what's in between them, as I said earlier, is plastic. And that grid system that you see there is actually table or a vacuum table. These are set up with vacuum tables. Each one of those sections, it does have a valve, and as you see and pan around, we'll point out those valves in the front, so you can shut off whatever sections that you want. But the white holes that you see is where the vacuum or the hose goes underneath. But that grid section will allow you to put a foam bead. That's a foam bead that you would drop in those little grooves, and you would create a chain with that foam bead that would create a chamber. So when you created a vacuum in that, it would literally cause your board to suck down against that the plastic part or that tabletop. And then that foam would create a seal around there so that it would hold it in place underneath. Yeah. I've seen people, and I wasn't, everybody thinks that the vacuum table is a solution for everything. They are the coolest thing in their right applications. I've got a customer that is here local that has actually a lower end. We do not sell the vacuum pumps with our system. Vacuum pumps can be very expensive. But what I have come or found out from some of our customers that have purchased these machines, that there are lower cost vacuum systems out there. And do a little research, and there's a gentleman that has basically took 2 regular vacuum systems. I forget the brand name of the vacuum. You wouldn't want to just use a shop vac type system, but they're higher grade vacuums. Put the 2 there, and he actually, and I know you've taught this, Laney, and I've actually went to the guy's shop and seen it, where you can actually take that MDF, cut the layer off the top and the bottom, machine it off, and it actually sucks down. In his case, he does, complete 4x8 sheets of, melanin type of plywood or MDF, and it will hold it down in that section. So vacuum table is standard as far as the way that the table is laid out. The vacuum pump is not included in that.
Yeah, it is plumbed and individual valves, which we'll see here in just a second in the video. We just don't provide the vacuum pump with that because there are so many different types of vacuum pumps, and like the Burl says, it does add an expense. So we let them kind of choose what they want with their system and all. And our larger company, or our Burl, we have some people in here that have larger machines and all, and mostly cabinet companies and stuff. And that's typically what they'll do is they'll throw a sheet of MDF down, and that'll create a vacuum pool and a waste board at the same time for when they're cutting out cabinet parts and things like that.
Yeah.
So, let's move a little forward where I was, and what this next little blurb scene is just to show the linear rail and the rack and pinion going across the x-axis.
Yes.
And our x-axis is covered with a baffle.
Yep.
A dust-free baffle.
Bellows. Yep.
Bellows. Thank you. I keep calling it a baffle, but bellows.
Okay.
Now, this is where just to show overall of the table, and each of those sections you see are controlled by individual on-off valves for that, as Burl was talking with the vacuum. Now, on this table, the actual cutting area, I believe, is 49 by 98.
Well,
believe
it or not, the 5100 is actually a little bit of play on words.
Okay.
It is actually 51 inches by 100 inches.
By 100 inches working
that right, and that is probably from your bit wouldn't be able to. That's the max dimension of it. But certainly that goes over the 48 by 96 inches of that. So yeah, it is a little bit larger, so that if you're cutting that full sheet out, you can make those cutouts and allow your travel to be just a little bit bigger than your actual 4x8 sheet.
Yeah, and Burl, as we move along and everything, we're going to have a few questions pop up from here, as we go. And one of the questions that pops up is are these built in-house? And we talked about this in one of our last broadcasts. The 5100 and our 4x4, our 4848, those are the only 2 units that we don't actually make the carcass in-house. They're bought off-site, if you are, however you want to say that. But we put our controls and things in them. We bring them in and we put our controls and stuff in. Is that correct? You want to say something?
Yes. No, you're correct. Basically, we do buy these. We do a lot to them. We actually go into the whole control system and put our whole control system in it with the there's some other features that we add to the machine that doesn't come standard in the spindle cooling. We actually add a radiator for extra coolant that is needed for the spindle, the control software when it comes to that. So yes, we do not build those in-house. We do put our control system on.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for asking that question, Mark. All right, so this next pause point here we're going to talk about is going to be our Z drive. And it's a ball screw driven. It's what, 20 millimeter ball screw, I believe. 20.
It caught me off guard on it's either I'm going to say an 18 to 20 millimeter. It sounds
Yeah.
about right.
What I was
Which for us standard people, 25.4 is an inch, so 20 to 18 is going to be in your 3/4, 7/8 inch there. Yes, that is. There's a couple other things that we will point out on this. Still has that profile linear rail, but you also see some clear tubes there in that screen, and we're going to get a better shot. This is the end result, that the ways and the ball screw have an oiling system in there. Another thing, and I couldn't get a good screenshot of them, but see the little tab on the, back up just a little bit.
I jumped right ahead. You started talking about the oil system. I'm like, hey, video.
Yeah. On the, let's see, as you're facing your screen on the right hand profile rail, you see the little tab there. The 5100 has a homing sensors on that. So you can use, that's a little tab there that would touch a proc sensor that's up inside there. They're all under guard, so we couldn't get a good screenshot. But the 5100 does have the ability to have a homing sequence put into the software and stuff like that.
Yeah. And the linear drives is absolutely definitely a good construction. Yeah, as Burl said, we have the x-axis or the z-axis has one proximity sensor or limit switch, I call them. At Z positive, our X has a limit switch, and then our Y has a limit switch. And then we also have on the Y-axis, we also have the hard stops too.
Oh yes, it won't come off of it won't. Right, it won't come off of the linear rails, but the homing sequence, if you get that in there, would help if you're starting to do some fixturing and set offsets, which can be a little bit confusing to simple-minded people. But once you get into where you're doing, repetitive stuff, that becomes important, where you have a set home, because in all our other systems we use kind of home on the fly.
Yeah, we have variable positions on our other units, and that's what I grew up on. You guys, the digital wood carver, I'm a customer as well. Back at when Burl and I first met, I have my 2440, and I learned on a variable home position. As I've grown in my experience and everything, I've actually set up a waste board, and I've been teaching our customers as well about fixed home positions, and it's kind of grooming them for if they ever do upgrade into a bigger machine, they'll understand that process. And I worked with a gentleman today on his 5100 on his big fixed home position, because he was just transitioning into that as well. All right, so now
the only other thing I didn't talk, did I talk about the Oilers? Yes, we talked about those. We'll go into more depth in a little bit later.
We'll talk about the Oilers as we come around the bend here in just a second. And I keep hitting that Randy's comment on there with my thumb. But let's go ahead and talk about the water-cooled spindle. Ronnie asked what the horsepower was, or what the, it's 3.2 kilowatts.
3.2, which equals 4.25 horsepower, is what that's equivalent to. These are water-cooled spindles, and we'll talk a little bit about spindles while we got this picture up. When we call it a water-cooled spindle, that is a self-contained water-cooled system, which means it has its own tank, its own pump, and on the larger units of 5100s, we actually put a little bit of a radiator type of cooler on that. But it is a self-contained system. The other thing about a water-cooled spindle is it's not cooled by air, so much quieter when you hear these run. And we'll show a little bit of video of it running. One of the videos we show is pretty noisy, but that's strictly the router bit noise. but you won't hear the noise. But the other thing is these come with ER 25, I believe, on this one, a little larger collets. And so you can run a 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch, and 1/8 inch, but they do sell complete sets that has every increment and in a 64th increments that you can buy collets that would fit on these spindles, and they just go inside there.
Excellent. And the working Z height of the 5100 is 8 inches, if I'm not mistaken, Burl. That is the safe Z height. I mean, the router, the spindle will actually pass past the gantry, when it raises up, but the working clearance under the gantry is 8 inches, correct?
That is correct.
Yep. Very good. Thanks for asking that question, Camaro. All right. So let's move on. Now we're going to talk about our.
Let me point one thing out with the spindle that I was wanting to talk about, and I talked about everything else.
But
what's that again?
I said you talked about everything else but that.
Yes, the spindle is actually a 3-phase motor, and it is ran by a variable frequency drive. And one of the cool features with that, and this can be on the 2440 unit or the 5100, what that allows us to do is with the software, we can change the speed. So you can change your physical RPMs with the software on the fly or in the program itself. And so that is an extra feature. When you get a spindle, not only is it quiet, but you do have control of the RPM by the software versus a manual knob or something that's on a regular wood router.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Burl, one of the things I kind of want to just touch on this, because I always have people asking this question, and the question has not come up, but I'm kind of, thinking in my head. One of the things that you will not see on the 5100 or our 4x8 is an automatic tool changer. And, people are always asking about that. But what a lot of you that may not understand is, like Burl said earlier in our introduction, we kind of, our focus is that grassroots, those entrepreneurs and wanting to get carving and everything. And we try our best to be an affordable CNC system, no matter if it's our 1824, 2440, 4x8 or 4x4. We try to be an affordable CNC system, and to keep our price point where we're at, add a water or a tool changing system to this. I mean, you're now taking a very affordable system and bringing it up into
it adds a lot of cost.
To it. So,
and we do a couple things on that. We get that question all the time. I mean, the automatic tool changer on that, and certainly we're not naive, and we're hoping you talked about it on our 30x48, and we're looking at having that as an option. People ask on the 5100, is it optional? It is not. Can we, it generally runs about $5,000 to $6,000 or $7,000 to get a water cooled or an automatic tool changer. The other thing is, and you've been involved, Laney, with some of the programming of the backside of that. Correct. When you go to an automatic tool changer, there's a lot that goes into, you no longer can just be like on the fly, set your board on there, zero it out in the center. Everything's going to have to be set off of offsets and home positions, because that machine has to know where that tooling is so that it goes and pulls those different tools and touches off and stuff like that. So not that it's not bad, it's excellent. It's just there's more to it than just holding a tool and snapping in, snapping it out.
Right, exactly. And again, as we said, you could compare us to other units out there that have ATCs and things like that, automatic tool changers for those. But when it comes to the price stuff, I mean, you're adding another 20. I mean, bro, I think, isn't it about another $10,000?
No, it's generally 5 to 10.
Yeah, 5 to 10, and that's just jumping. We wanted to kind of but we did, bro. does that. We do have a prototype system, which is a mid-grade system that's going to have an integrated tool change system, because we know that people like those and all. All right, let's move on to the next one. And I'm just I'm hitting Burl with all these conversations. He's like, we didn't discuss the tool.
No, that's what live TV is about, and that's fine.
Now, as standard, it comes with a dust hood with a 4-inch inlet for your central vac systems and everything. These are our dust shrouds and stuff. I
think if you let it move forward there, Laney, I
think I cut it off. I actually
okay.
Cut it off where it wasn't open. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. Basically, that little latch there holds the door so that you can get in and change those out. And it's a collet very similar to what a router is, where you have a nut and a collet piece in it. That collet piece is interchangeable for different sizes, but it's going to be very similar to what your regular wood routers and other routers are.
So. Yes, and when I was doing the video editing, I snipped that little. It hit the editing room floor. Sorry about that, bro.
That's okay. That's okay.
But yeah, and guys and girls, if you have smaller systems, you don't have a central vac system or something, there's adapters to reduce down to whatever you have and things like that you can buy third party and all. All right, so let's talk about we have a computer cabinet that's included. This is great, bro. All the controls and everything are actually built within this computer cabinet. And then we have a place to have our computer where it's kind of away from the dust and the production environment and everything.
Yes, that's right. And you can open that door and set your computer in there and get in and out, so dust doesn't affect. This cabinet does contain all the controls. It has fans that keep it cooled that go into the side of it and the lower cabinets, and they're easily accessible, so that if you have a dusty environment, that you can once in a while just blow those out and make sure that you're not building up. But all of them, the back panel and the front panels, are latch allows you to get in and out of them.
And that's where the control boards are, motor drivers, all that wonderful stuff. Now, as we kind of zoom into the panel a little bit, one of the things that always comes standard with our systems is the Planet CNC TNG motion controller software. TNG stands for the next generation, but it is a very user-friendly, very intuitive controller. We use it across the line. So whether you're a new customer or a customer that's had one of our other machines and you're upgrading, you don't have to relearn any new additional software. The controller software is used across the board.
Well, and one of the things I want to point out about the TNG or the Planet CNC, I really like about their software, their controller software, compared to some of the others, is how large a toolpath window that you get. So you have a lot of visibility of what you're going to be carving, where a lot of the other softwares, they'll leave that as just a corner piece where you really can't magnify it.
Right.
But, when you interact with these machines, and once again, we're not bashing on other competitors, but we feel that this large HMI or human interaction, with a machine, it gives you a lot of versatility and allows you to see what's going on. So that it has a very large window for your tool path. As you can see there's some, rails even from a distance of what's being cut out and what's going to happen when you hit that start button.
Right. And, as you're doing your research and your marketing research and looking at other units, some units use handheld controllers that use a flash drive that stick in that controller, and all the controls are within there. Some have I'm a big advocate of having a computer connected to the machine, because you do have so much control in that software and everything. But each system has its own, unique thing about it. But I'm a big advocate of having that control. I like to be able to, if I need to make a change on the fly, it's all right there and I can see what's happening and stuff. So good call on that. All right. So let's back out of the cabinet here, and where are we going to next? I can't remember. I think we're going around to the oiler system. We're going to come around to the back of the cabinet, and there's our oiler system.
Yeah, we have a automatic oiler. This is where you'll actually put oil in it, and you see the little orange or brass mechanism right above it. Now the yellow
Air hose. Now that's not
yeah,
part.
that's air hose. That's add-on the guys added to the system for their use there. So that is not standard production there. But the mechanism up above it is a distribution bank there that allows you to adjust what sections get more and less oil. And I will tell you, and just a little bit of a warning on our oiler system on it, it is very nice and it does keep all these areas oiled. You just have to watch it that it doesn't get it over oiled, because one of the things in the woodworking that we don't like is oil on our projects. So that's just a little caution there, but it is automatic. You can adjust how often it comes on and how long it is on. And then you have a fine tune out at those distribution places of what sections get less oil or more oil. Another thing I want to point out on this system, or on the 5100, we have it on the two smaller units, but this has energy chain, or some people call them cat tracks. That's a black mechanism with a little yellow dots on the side of it. That's what constrains the wires that go to the different sections, and so they don't get caught or bundled or snagged on something and tear it up. This one has it on the X and Y. That keeps a nice clean work area, and also your cables protected, so something piece of wood or even going back and forth, they don't get caught on something.
Exactly. And the which it doesn't show, but to the lower below that cat track is where the radiator would be, that's added on for the cooling system and the cooling tank and everything.
Those
Now
get edited out too.
they did.
It's okay.
Now we have our Z touch tool. It's kind of integrated into the Z height, but that's our Z sensor. And it has it's basically it's a fixed thickness block that we can program into the Planet CNC controller software, and it makes for quick zeroing of your tools.
Well, and this is, if you're familiar with our smaller product, this is the 10,000ths. This is about a ½ inch, but what you're going to do is you'll measure that with a calipers, or we will, and generally write on there that exact dimension. So instead of putting 0.010 in your TNG Z block, you're going to put in that number, and it's going to work exactly the same way.
Yep, absolutely.
And these do have pendants. I didn't show it because I created a video, but they will have pendants. Obviously, a longer cable to them, but they will have pendants like the 2440, so you can manually move the X, Y, and Z.
Yes, for jogging.
For jogging and manually setting up your machine. It will have the pendant like that, and the speed control on that pendant too.
Yeah, and the system, I think Burl had touched on it earlier. The system, this whole system is a single phase 220 system.
Yes.
Yes. And so all you need is a single phase 220 outlet, and Burl, 15 amp breaker.
Yeah, 15 amp would run it. If you're setting up a dedicated system, I probably would go with a 20 amp. That's a pretty common circuit when it comes to that. But yeah, it would handle, because we've taken these out to do shows and stuff, and it will get on there. So yeah, this is a picture of it doing some cutting. This is in HDPE plastic. It loves plastic, showing some nesting stuff there. This is the tabletop that we're cutting out. We use it in production to make other products for our machines.
Yes, this unit is a production unit that helps make our other units and things. So precision counts. And there's a look at one of our tabletops and all. And there's another one getting ready to
being cut out.
Yeah, and so this is, just a walkthrough. Burl went out to our factory today and did a walk around. And you guys and girls, you're going to have to excuse the dust. It's a production machine and it's working. So, we'd love to show you a nice shiny bells and whistles one, but it's a working machine. It's a working machine. Now, I want you to take note of the valves on the front of the unit here. These are those individual valve banks for that vacuum table and all for turning on those different areas or zones, different zones and all,
Yes.
and everything. And yeah, well,
Well,
let's go ahead, Burl.
Well, and I wanted to go into, do we have much more video or is this about it?
It's done. It's
Okay.
we're
Yeah, there's a couple other things I wanted to talk about on this. It does take up about a 7x10 area. Now you would want to leave a little more room than that for loading and unloading, but to give you an idea of the footprint of it is about 7 by 10 foot long. And they're not a breakdown unit, meaning that it's going to take up that much area. So far, majority of the people, not that we've had some customers that will pick them up on a trailer, and we're able to, forklift those onto a trailer if you had that. But most of our deliveries have been where we actually deliver it ourselves, and we have a flatbed. And one of the things that we, think is unique about this, if we put this on a semi truck, obviously semi truck is way up in the air, and you have to have a forklift to get it off of the truck and into your place. But most of them are delivered. We do charge a delivery fee, but we'll come in and help you, put it onto your shop floor. And we can generally do that with pallet jacks directly from that flatbed trailer down the ramps into your shop. Laney has helped me do some delivery. He's done 2 or 3 of them himself. We met up in Georgia not too long ago,
right.
and did a delivery. We snaked that 5100 back into a room that was down a long concrete path. But anyhow, most of the time we will deliver it. And I wanted to point out, if you we put them in people's garages, if you wanted as small area as that, to, we put them in large industrial areas where, this was a small piece of equipment too. But our delivery, you don't have to go out and rent a forklift to have it. As part of the setup and training, we can help you do that. There is a fee for that. We feel it's very reasonable. Obviously, it depends on how far you're from Martinsville, Indiana. That's where we're based out of.
And I'd like to, as we talk about this, just real quick, I want to pop this back up on the screen. The one thing that I like about these units is the solid steel frame construction. The welded frame underneath is the foundation of the unit. It is, with something like this, when it comes to precision, you want that
It's a tank.
just like when you're building a house, you want a great foundation. And this is a welded solid steel frame construction, and just it's a phenomenal build. It is built like a tank, like Burl said. Burl, I do want to take a second just to share a funny story. Now, Burl had the privilege of delivering one of these units in a freight elevator one time.
Oh my goodness.
And
oh my goodness.
This unit, believe it or not, I mean, there is a way to unassemble it in some ways, but Burl had to figure out that way when we delivered, because the place we were delivering to was up on the second floor, and the only way to get it up, there was no windows, no nothing. It was a freight elevator. So
that scared the bejiggers out of me. That bed is solid. So it is, that section that's down through there, the legs can be taken off, the gantry can be taken off, but that middle section is a solid chunk. And had a group of guys, and when it was going, because it had to be stood up on its end, and literally a 10-foot section, that section of it, I'm going to say 1,000 to 1,500 pounds is what that section alone weighs. It's about 2,800 pounds, the whole unit put together, but that section was that heavy, and I still have nightmares of it. Went in flawless, nobody got hurt, but I wouldn't ever want to do that again. It was one of those that it happened quick, and a lot of people, lifting and moved, and nothing went wrong. But I could have seen a lot of things go wrong when we did that.
Oh, I just wanted to hear that story. I thought when it was explained to me, I thought, wow.
I don't want to do that again. That is not. There's nothing in this that says I will deliver it to a second floor of a building. So just to be clear, that is not happening again. So,
but we will deliver it. So
we will deliver it, and we'll do our best to put it in some unique places. I do want to point out a couple things here as we get close to wrapping up, Laney, on this. You had talked about earlier that someone was interested in doing trade-ins.
Yeah.
We don't necessarily have an official trade-in system. We have, and we will continue. We have a lot of people, especially right now, doing trade-ins of their mini or their 18 by 24 units up to the 2440. Mm-hmm. And then we've had a lot of people that will trade in their, whether it's a 18 by 24 or a 2440 up to a 5100. Very good stepping stone when it comes to this. Start out small, make sure that you can understand the whole concept of CNC, how it works, how it interacts, what it takes. Get your business started, that low entry level cost wise, build with this. And this is a good stair step level. And this machine, we know for a fact, and got quite a few of them out there that, you can put this thing to work and let it make money for you. Yeah. Along with the trade-in, I do want to say that we do have a couple of units that are available. When it comes to that, there is lead times on those, but we could possibly get them fairly quick when it comes to that.
Yeah, and one of the things that we didn't touch on, I do want to touch on one thing. William Wallace, the DWC Quickset, does work with this unit as an accessory for your auto zeroing for X, Y, and Z and everything. And when it comes to those zones, Crystal here, she owns a cabinet company, Calusa Cabinets, down in South Florida, Burl, and they have a large machine, and working with zones, having those zones on that vacuum table, it's great for targeting certain areas of your production. If you had, a big sheet and you're only cutting this area, you need to just, cordon off or vacuum that section, whatever the case may be. Those are good things. But one of the things we didn't really talk about before we say our goodbyes and everything is operating speeds. Our commercial unit, this 5100, we have operating speeds. Burl, correct me if I'm wrong, 2 to 500 inches per minute is the range.
I would say you're correct on that. I know I set it up around the 300 inches a minute as our rapid. Cutting wise, I've seen some. It honestly can go up to, like you say, that 500 inches a minute. In certain applications, especially in this, our smaller units, we don't generally emphasize our speeds a lot,
right?
Because they're hobbyists to low end businesses, and so there's not a reason to push these units right to the edge so that we get the maximum production. But with this unit, being that more of them are set into those production atmospheres, we do have customers that are doing that. And I have heard of, they'll run it a couple 100 feet. Matter of fact, I had a little short video there that was showing it cutting the tabletops. And that speed, if I'm not correct, is about 200 to 250 inches a minute. And cutting some of those, milling in those tabletop is very tough on bits. And there are some certain speeds that the router bits are recommended to go. So we'll get some much higher speeds on the 5100 than what you're seeing with the 18 by 24 and the 2400.
Yeah, it's two different realms, two different machines and everything.
Yeah.
Well, Burl, we are at our 1 hour, 4 minute mark, so it's time to. I do not have any other questions. Everybody has asked all the questions. If there's any guys, now's the time to type them in because we're about to wrap it up here.
Yep. I do want to. We didn't have and we don't have necessarily a big announcement here at the end, but we do have one. And we try to offer something during the show. Generally, everybody likes a show special. And so we are offering, since we are focusing on the 5100, if you would place your order or at least contact Laney with a quote on, from this show. So meaning the next couple of days, if you see the show and you are wanting to purchase a 5100, that unit sells for $15,225 or $250. So that's $15,250 is a regular price. During this time, we would take $750 off, would be $14,500. We would sell that unit. You have to let Laney know, and obviously it is on limited quantities on this. We'll put it to the first 2 units, Laney. After that, we'll have to limit it on that. But we would give a special on that. I've already pre-talked to Laney, so reach out to him. He can get you that quote and give you that discount if you are interested in the 5100. Once again, this is, if somebody is watching this after it's recorded, this is based upon this being live May the 13th, and we'll give you a 1-day grace period of May the 14th on that. So if you are interested in, we'll give you a special discount on the 5100, and contact Laney for that.
Absolutely. Now, Burl, last question is, I don't think it will, but will the dovetail jig work on the 5100? I don't think the gantry goes, or the router goes past the front of the unit on this unit.
It does not. So no, it would not. Could you possibly make a clamping system? That is, there is a possibility. You would have to get into the tabletop. There is hollow spots into the framework underneath structure, but on air, I wouldn't want to promise that until we got some exact specs on that. But as the dovetail jig is set up the way it is, it will not work on the 5100. That is
now the 4th axis would work. A 4th axis accessory we could work on the 5100 for doing rotary jobs and things like that.
Yes.
And
we've set 4th axes up on the 5100 and sold those before, and they work just fine. It's going to work. It will set on the table itself, and we generally set it crossways, basically laying on the table, and then your router or your spindle is going to come down on top of it, kind of similar to the way the 1824 little 4th axis works.
Now, Burl, don't shoot me in the foot for saying this one, but if I'm not mistaken, I think we've actually done every once in a while, guys. If you ever have some kind of request, always talk with Burl or I and see if it can be done or what have you. But that router plate behind the spindle,
yes,
does that, like, if someone wanted to do a dual head system for a production, could a second spindle be mounted to that wide router plate?
Possibly.
Possibly, right? Okay.
Yeah, it is wider there, and we could possibly mount to that. It would require, obviously, we'd have to wire it and get it in. Those are some cool things. There is some limitations with them because the spacing that they are apart, and your project can never be bigger than that spacing.
Exactly. And I had someone
you're doing dual.
Yeah, and I had someone phone in that question, and I had it written down in front of me, but I just wanted to ask it here. So again, it's one of those things, and like you were saying, that limits, because they're both moving simultaneously.
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly. So,
Burl, go ahead and say your goodbyes, your wrap up, and then we'll close this out.
Well, thanks everybody for coming out and joining us tonight and talking a little bit about the 5100. It's a product that we don't talk about a lot, but it is a very, very nice product, and we've got a lot of units out in the field cranking out some cool projects on that. So thanks for coming by today. It's been fun. We'll continue to do some of these. We kind of skipped a week, and we may do that again, skipping a week. But we'll try to continue to do these virtual shows until we can get back out in the field and see people. But as for today, stay safe, and till next time, have a good evening.
Outstanding. And as always, folks, be sure to join me in the shop tomorrow night. If you're a follower of Spindle TV, we're going to be carving lithophanes. We talked about that this past Tuesday. So that'll be 7:15 Eastern time. Burl, as always, it's a pleasure speaking with you.
Yes.
Guys and girls, we don't have an announcement for what if we're going to do one next week or what's coming up, but we'll be sure to post it in our Facebook page, Digital Woodcarver Facebook page. So follow along with that if you're on Facebook, and we'll make that announcement that way. And again, keep an eye out if you've asked to join the Digital Woodcarver Owners Group. Eye out for the open house invitation to come into your inbox through Facebook. It's going to go through your Facebook Messenger and everything. And until next time, guys. We'll see you soon.